Namaskar. We know that the physical body can go for days, weeks, even months without food, but only a few days without water. Now, on the psychological level, what is the equivalent? Is there also a water that is essential for our psychological well-being? This is actually something that is so important for us that we can never get enough of it. And once we understand how it works, we have with us the ability to immediately improve our relationships, not only with other people, but even as gardeners, even with other species. And most importantly, this also is really a key to unlock a whole new level in your meditation. So this is the power of your attention. Your attention is the most precious gift you can give to anyone. Everyone wants your attention. You know, we scold and kind of shame children about this, like, oh, he just wants attention. Of course, children want attention. They need attention in order to thrive. We all are able to amplify all of our abilities when we receive the right kind of attention. Now, what is that right kind of attention? Of course, you know, children are so hungry for attention, and not only children, all of us, that sometimes we'll even settle for negative attention rather than have no attention at all. Now, it's not just that attention's a pleasant thing. Like I said, it's kind of like water to our bodies. In Romania, where I work, before I came, during the period of communism, there'd been a lot of children that had been in institutions where they received very little personal attention. Their physical needs were being attended to more or less. You know, they would give bottles, let's say, of formula to the babies. But there was a phenomenon called failure to thrive. This is where babies, because of this severe emotional and psychological neglect, where they weren't receiving any kind of individualized, personalized attention, failed to thrive. Many didn't even survive. Their bodies just shriveled. Their brains didn't develop and make neuroconnections. Their entire physical and psychic existence was atrophied. Now, if some of these kids within a window of time were brought into a situation where there was appropriate caregiving and they could establish an attachment, then they would recover, because human beings are incredibly resilient. It's like a plant. You know, sometimes I come home and I find that my plants haven't been watered, and after I've been traveling, and they're just suffering. You know, you can see they're on the brink of just giving up. But when you give them water, immediately they revive. You know, so I saw this. I've seen this happen before my eyes. I saw one little baby that we rescued after the earthquake in Haiti from a children's home where she was also being severely neglected. And she appeared to be only 2 years old, but her dentist, the doctor, medical doctor, looking at her teeth, said, no, she's actually about almost 6. And her whole development had been so stunted from this neglect. But as soon as we started giving her a lot of love, a lot of attention, good food, she started to physically develop so rapidly. It was amazing to see. And now she's a very happy little girl, you know, doing well in school and everything. But this just goes to show how even physically important proper attention is. Now, the attention that you can learn to cultivate that will really enhance your relationships immediately is to practice the same kind of ideation, we call it, the same kind of way or style of thinking as you do when you meditate. So when we meditate, we're using the mantra on this channel, Baba Nam Kevalam. And it's a way to focus on, to remember that there is a loving, supreme consciousness in everything. Now, when we think that as we look at someone, we're looking, we're listening, we open up to them, and we offer them a type of attention that a friend of mine that I was working with called it unconditional positive regard. You know, regard, such a nice word. It's more than just looking. You know, regard implies respect. You know, you have my regard. Like, I'm giving you an unconditional, positive kind of attention and respect. And doing that, helping me to stay centered on that, I can be repeating the mantra inside of my mind, you know, and listening, really being tuned in. So when you recognize that kind of presence in the person in front of you, and not only person, like I said, this can improve your gardening, you know, your attention towards plants, your attention towards other species, animals, insects, whatever. When you cultivate this Vabanam Kevalam awareness, or if you're practicing advanced meditation, in the system we teach, there's also personalized meditations. And the second lesson is one in which you're cultivating this kind of awareness. It's called Madhuvidya. It means it transforms the way that you see everything into sweetness. Madhu means honey, and Vidya means knowledge. So staying attuned to this knowledge, to this truth, because it is the truth. Not being deceived by appearances, and giving that unconditional, full presence, it just makes everything around you flourish. It makes relationships flourish. You give that kind of presence, that regard, that positivity to a plant, it will flourish. You know, you give it to someone who, let's say you're walking by somebody who's homeless, you know, and you not just throw some money or something at them, but if you sit down for a moment and give them your full presence, it can be incredibly powerful and healing. Being alongside people when they're suffering, being alongside people when they're happy, you know, this kind of presence, it amplifies our ability to even think better. When we receive that, you know, I think you've all experienced, there are people who just by the way they look at you, they make you feel stupid, awkward, kind of ugly, like you just can't be yourself because they're looking at you with judgment, with kind of some disgust, some aversion. And it's so difficult to just even feel normal in those types of situations. Not impossible. You can develop, you know, such a positivity inside that this stuff just rolls off of you. But most ordinary human beings, especially when they're vulnerable, like when I was a kid, you know, I remember, you know, some kids looking at me like that, and I just would feel so inhibited. But I'd go home, you know, and maybe in the presence of my family members, I would just open up, you know, I would feel more creative, more intelligent, more smart, more beautiful when I had that kind of nourishing, positive, unconditional regard. These days, I think this is super relevant because a lot of parents are distracted on the phone. And there was an experiment called the stone face experiment. I've seen it done both with dads and moms. You can look it up on the internet. And in the stone face experiment, what happens is that the, you know, you have like the father and his baby daughter, you know, and they're just hanging out, and he's kind of like smiling at her and playing little games, and they have their kind of nonverbal communication and dance going on between them. Very beautiful, very lovely. And the baby is giggling and smiling, and the father's making, you know, sweet sounds at her and imitating, and they are, maybe shaking a little rattle or something together, and the baby's all excited. And then the father turns away, and these are the instructions from the experimenters. You have to turn away, and when you come back, face is completely devoid of all emotion, not looking at the child, just kind of staring ahead into space, like stone face. And this only goes on for a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, not very long. And the baby just psychologically starts to crumple. She's trying to get back to that same lovely little dance and connection and warmth she had with her father, but she can't get his attention. He's not paying attention. And as she tries and is unable to connect, all of a sudden, you see her like start to go into distress, start to, get anxious. The whole face changes, begins to cry, and is starting to, melt down. And then the father turns around, turns back, and now he's just normal dad again. And it's such a big reunion and relief and joy, and that reconnection happens automatically. The experiment's really hard on the dads, actually, to turn around and to be non-responsive. But what happens these days is a lot of people are distracted on devices, and so when they're turning their attention to devices, child is there trying to get that attention, and it's a bit like the stone face. They cannot connect, so this kind of neglect then can happen, where even though people are present, they're present, but without the attention. So neglect isn't just a child growing up in the woods by themselves. A lot of the severe neglect happens where human beings are present, but because of, like in the case of the kids that have grown up in our care in Romania, because of alcohol. They're just unable to connect. They're in their own world. They're disconnected. They're not paying attention. So attention is vital. It's like the water for your relationships. And full, undivided attention, not multitasked attention, is the greatest gift you can give to a relationship, when you're able to really be fully present and to see the divinity of that moment, to give it that mantra, that Bhavanam Kevalam, to enhance your ability to stay present, to stay positive, to stay connecting to the deeper reality of our experience. And the same, like I said, with my poor plants. When I go away on vacation, and I request always, of course, someone to take care, but not everybody listens and gives their full attention to plants, And I'll find the orchids swimming in too much water and like drowning, and other plants that just completely got missed, got forgotten about, and they're just languishing there. And I feel so sorry for them, because they have so little way to communicate to us their needs, only through their leaves, only through the colors and changes of their leaves, only through this can you understand when it's happy or when it's suffering. And it's not that difficult in most cases to make a plant happy. It just means sometimes it's telling you it's not near the light, it's really reaching, its color is changing, fading, it's getting diseases, but its needs are so simple: light, proper earth, water, some nutrients every now and then it's happy. But this requires human attention, involvement, really noticing, caring, noticing with that kind of positive, unconditional regard and respect. And the same goes true with any other type of insect, or species or animal or whatever. Beekeepers become so sensitive, because bees are so responsive to your mood. So when a beekeeper goes out to take care of the hives, they know, I've talked to them, they know they have to be in a really calm, really welcoming, really attentive kind of atmosphere. And then the beekeeping goes really well. The minute there's anxiety, stress, fear, or they're distracted, bees will feel it. So the whole universe, is nourished by attention. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is how this can be a key to taking your spiritual practice to another level. So a lot of times, people sit to meditate and they kind of approach it like a task. Okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have this task. I've got to, follow these steps, breathing, meditate on the mantra, mind wanders, takes it back like this. And when we do that, sometimes we have varying levels of success at actually being able to follow those instructions. Many times we sit, mind wanders around, and we bring it back. And, if we're taking it as a task and we're judging ourselves on how well we did that task, we can get kind of down on ourselves, like, I'm not very good at this. I'm not doing it right. I think there's another attitude that we can bring to the meditation that just transforms your relationship to meditation. And that is, when you meditate, you're giving your full, positive, unconditional regard, your full presence to the subtlest consciousness that exists, to that supreme state of consciousness, that divine state. You're opening yourself up. You're creating space. Maybe you know this term like holding space. You're holding space for divinity to come in, just to realize it's there. Actually, it's always there. This is the fundamental reality of our existence, but we're not tuning into it. The fact is, our attention is too distracted. It's too divided. It's restless. It's moving around. So meditation, in essence, is to bring our full attention inward to perceive the very source of that attention. And when we do, that's that immersion, that expansion into the supreme consciousness. Our small attentions, like a drop of water, but the presence of that supreme consciousness, that unending attention that exists, and that is not only we're giving our attention towards that. As we do, we're opening up to realize that we are being listened to, that there is a listening consciousness and presence that is unconditional, eternal, infinite, always with us. And so the perception of that is when your mind really starts to experience the divinity of meditation. Not just approaching meditation as another task, but actually starting to taste the juice of real spiritual experience. And this is, said to be one of the real secrets for deep meditation, is don't feel I am doing the meditation, but rather stepping back, becoming an observer. The meditation is happening. It's being done. You are tuning in. You are watching. You are entering into the state of that observing, witnessing presence. So this is the greatest gift that you can give to others, and also to your own divine higher self. And whatever you give your attention to, you are nourishing that. You're making it grow. So I'm really interested to hear your own experiences with sharing your attention with others, and try this out. Let me know if it works. What changes do you notice when you bring this kind of energy into your listening, into the spaces of your relationships, even into your gardening, whatever it is, experiment with this. See if it works. I think you're going to have some remarkable results, but especially bring it into your meditation. You can find out more about the course and our upcoming events in the comments below. Namaskar.